Hi guys, this is an S&P 500 technical analysis update for the 3rd of February 2021. Before I start, anyone who wants to join the group, got some great plays on some DeFi coins here, which we've been in for the last couple of months. Secret Facebook page, and you can pay via crypto, and obviously you can go through this link and some educational material. You never know, that might be useful going into a 20-year bear market. Now, with the NASDAQ, as you know, we basically called these lows. Did multiple videos there 9-10 months ago, basically called the lows, and we were calling for a melt up for well over 10 months now, and this is really how bull markets end. So still there's a chance this NASDAQ can go to 20,000. This is the fractal. Well, it's not really a fractal, but we're basically copying this, so to speak, in terms of how this is going to end. So we were calling for this over 10 months ago, and we said, look, long-term capital management, when they went bust in October 98, that was basically a huge shakeout prior to a parabolic move, and that's exactly what we've got here. So I would say there's still some room to go higher here. This count is getting extended, so there is a chance we could actually hit 20,000 here. The initial target from here, prior to any of this ever occurring, the initial target through the education that I describe here in the masterclass, very, very important knowledge there, great feedback as you would expect, was 13.6, basically 14,000. So we're pretty much there now. So that was a target which we had. We were calling for Apple to 600. I mean, out of the money call options on Tesla have gone up well over 20,000%, and Tesla can still hit 1,000, and I think it will hit 1,000. So we're looking at this wave to basically get a little bit extended, and then we're going to have the final blow off top, and then that's it. It's all over. So let's just have a quick look through a few things here. So Tesla, we're running this as a wave 4 correction, as you can see here in the pre-market. So we caught these lows early this week, and now we're looking for one more push up towards 1,000. Tesla will likely hit a $1 trillion market cap, and as you can see, since the day that we called the melt up, obviously it's up nearly 2,000%. So Tesla probably will hit 1,000 as well as a $1 trillion market cap, and that should push the S&P to higher targets. Once again, we were calling for this when most other commentators, if you want to use that term, were bearish right up until here. In fact, there are still people bearish now. There are still people calling for some kind of ABC. So obviously that's not going to happen. So the market's going to top when there are no more shorts in the market. Right now, there's still some shorts. So we're looking at this count to get extended. Once again, the count from well over, well, basically right at the lows, as you can see from this video here, was 4,400 and 4,000. So 4,000 is going to get hit, 4,400 can get hit. But if everyone knows those targets, which I mentioned over a year ago, that would probably mean we're going to go past 4,400 and past 4,000, maybe even get up to 5K here. Now, as for the Dow Jones, well, this is really interesting because I called for well over a year ago now, well, nearly 2 years ago, for 40K on the Dow. And that can still happen because we're running this as a wave 2. 1 into a 2, now probably another 1, 2. So we can easily hit 40,000 on the Dow Jones here. The initial target from the lows was 31,845, 847. We're still going to go past that. Now, let's quickly go over Ethereum, because obviously completely switched this bias the minute this got taken out. So the count that we had, the more bearish count, was obviously ABC. Clearly that got invalidated here. So if you want to get more regular updates, then my YouTube, I mean, this is the first one I've done in about 3 months. So if you want more regular updates, then obviously you can join the group. So we went long DeFi and long Ethereum the minute it broke this top. Clearly that's not an ABC. I don't think it's that obvious at all. Clearly, fundamentals of the DeFi are pushing up Ethereum 2.0 and all of that. This can go to 2,000. The ultimate target that I've had from here is 5,207. And we've had that target the minute this got taken out. So things can get invalidated. But the good thing about Elliott Wave is the minute something gets invalidated, well, clearly that count goes off the table. So you have to take that count out of the way, call it a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into here, that gets you to 2,000. If it gets extended, 5,207. Now, obviously, the whales are watching this video, so given that I'm bullish Ethereum, they're probably going to do a quick little dump here after this video gets released, which is pretty funny because the whales were also watching the video here, and yet they were holding as Bitcoin crashed 90%. Once again, that was the call that we made here, and obviously YouTube have just taken down the calls from 3-4 years ago, which is pretty funny. So I wonder what the whales did here as they went bankrupt in GME. So that's a pretty interesting move. This is a very, very interesting chart. I mean, this is probably getting ready for another squeeze now. Clearly it's topped. I mean, that was obviously a wave 4. Those who have taken the masterclass knows that that was a poor high that had to get repaired. So we played that move there and that move there. Now you could easily read that as a 1 2 1 2 3 4 5 all the way down. Now, where would you want to find support here? You know, there's obviously a key level there and a key level here, which is bounced off and it's formed a shakeout pattern. So if this double bottoms here, this could very well be a nice little oversold bounce. But that's all it is. There's nothing to do here as regards to for GME coming all the way back up to here again. That's highly unlikely, but there might be an oversold bounce play coming here pretty soon. I would suspect that there will be pretty soon. Let's have a look here on the monthly levels. Yeah, I mean, as you can see, that was a previous all-time high as well. So we're getting pretty close to 63. So we're not quite there yet, but I can imagine a squeeze coming on GME again. But like I said, I would be very, very careful here. The brokers are really getting involved here because they had to basically make up the margin, didn't they? So that is a 1 2 1 2 3 4 5. Maybe it's another wave 4. Then you get one more wave down. Then you get a squeeze. So I would be watching. That's a bit low. 63 and any double bottom here is right for a squeeze. Any double bottom in any oversold market is almost always a buy. Anyway, so going back to Ethereum, so 5,207. Watch out for the whales. And yeah, that should go higher. Now we're in quite a few altcoins. So obviously Sushi Bar, we've been in this for well over 2 months now. This has been doing really, really well. And obviously we're up making some big gains there. So the minute something gets invalidated, you just have to figure out what the other count is. I believe there's a high here that we have to take out. Yeah, so we're just going to look for that high basically, 46 on Sushi Bar. And then CRV is also making some really good gains. The target we had, let me just double check what the target is. Yeah, the target that we had was $6 on here. So we're looking for 6 USD on here. Sushi and CRV are working really well. We were looking at 6 target, basically tag the IPO, the ICO start on August 2020. So that would be a good target here. Let me see what else we're in. We're also in Tomo Chain. So Tomo Chain is really interesting because they have a halving today. Those who have taken the masterclass, well, you know exactly what setup is getting formed here. So we discuss all the different kind of patterns that you form. I mean, well, I wouldn't say there's 1 or 2 patterns. There's probably around 20 patterns that you need to know. And we discuss them all here, here, and here. And then there's also auction market theory patterns. So once you know the 20 or 30 patterns that are common in the stock market, you know exactly how to play them. So on Tomo Chain, I believe we are looking for $3 on here. So we're looking for this flat top break, inside week consolidation. It's got a halving. We're looking for that to move to $3. So great gain. Great gains there to be had on the altcoins. Now, let's have a look at Bitcoin. So, I mean, obviously, there is a melt-up going on, which we called for. I don't think this was really obvious. I think a few people have said this is very, very obvious. I don't think that's obvious. I mean, it's all well and good saying something is really obvious, but actually, I don't think it was that obvious. I've been very, very careful here with Bitcoin because any market that's gone up for 10 years should have remained here sideways for at least another couple of years and then probably have gone lower, then have gone back up again. But you can't argue with the price action. It's a nice consolidation here and it's a breakout. Ethereum we're looking at to go higher. If you look at this from a fundamental perspective, the stock to flow ratio is currently operating somewhere between 80 and 90,000. Once this consolidation is complete, you're looking for the move up. Now, if we have a look at the futures, there is an obvious gap at 25,000, which we can easily get into at some point. Okay, so it might not break 42k imminently right now. This consolidation has gone too long to be relative to this wave 4. I mean, unless it moves here, right now, it's gone on a little bit too long. I still think it looks corrective. To me, that is all too much of a correction. There's too many 3 waves going on here. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, bit of a short squeeze. It's gone back into an area of supply and it's failed up there. Even this doesn't look particularly impulsive. So markets can correct in terms of price or time, or both. So Bitcoin is just going to consolidate, but that's great. Why is that great? Because we know the altcoins outperform during that time. So really, Bitcoin, it's not really important. As long as Bitcoin doesn't crash at any time below 20,000, then you're going to be fine. So, fine. As long as it stays above here, then you're fine for a consolidation and then go higher. Really, it's the DeFi coins and Ethereum that you want to be in. Of course, Ethereum futures are going to get released in about a week's time, so just watch out for that. The last time futures got released, well, they've taken down all the videos as they would do, but those who are old enough to remember the videos that I did on the futures, and then look what happened. Same with uranium. So really, DeFi is where you want to be. Let me have a look and see if there's any other coins which we can have a look at here. Right, without giving too much away, we'll have a look at one more coin. So there's Reef coin, which is basically on the DOT protocol. And as you can see, I've got my alerts here against the BTC. So we're looking at this as just a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 basically. Oops, wrong market here. So like I said, if you want to join the group, you want to get into these plays early, obviously you can. There were no entries for a couple of months, but now we're taking entries again. So that's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, you can see my alerts here, so kind of giving it away there, and there. So you have a look at Reef USD. It should be able to continue this uptrend. If that's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we can easily get a move up towards 0.15 as well. But you have to be careful, right? You have to be careful. This is a lower market cap coin, so you don't want to just go all in into this. You have to be able to split your risk between Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then maybe ADA, Digibyte, and then obviously you can have a selection of DeFi coins. You always want to diversify your risk because it's never going to be a case where they're all going up at the same time. ADA, we've been very bullish on this. So the minute Ethereum broke the bearish count, we've been very bullish on ADA, which basically did the same thing. ADA also broke this ABC potential pattern. So now it's a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. This can easily go to $1. As you can see, I've got alerts there for $1. So interesting times here on the crypto side of things. Now, what else are we going to have a quick look at here? Let me just see what else we can have a look at here. So let's just have a look. And so the dollar index, I mean, this is really interesting. As you can see, we're all over this. So we were anticipating a move. You can easily read that as 5 waves down. If it's not 5 waves down, then this is just the wave 4. But that does look like an inverted head and shoulders. So we knew this day was going to come when the dollar was going to turn. And Steve, it was going to be correct. I know Steve's been short this market since March. Bless him. But a couple more stimulus checks going to come his way. So there's still more shorts to get squeezed, I'm sure. So that's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's an ABC. I mean, it just comes down to how bullish you want to be here. We understand the fractal that we had way back when. In November 1999, the market didn't top until March 2000. So we've been talking about this for a while. There can be an overlap where the NASDAQ still goes higher, and S&P, and Dow, and Bitcoin, and Ethereum, and the dollar all at the same time. But obviously, sooner or later, dollar is going to cause an issue with stocks, but we can get something like this. And if you just copy that exact fractal, well, that gets you to 110. There is a chance dollar could easily take out 120. So you don't want to be bearish dollar here. Even if it is a trap and it's a wave 4, then it comes back down again. Doesn't really matter. The dollar has all but bottomed. But there can be an overlap here. So October 99, March 2000, so March 24th, 2000. That was obviously a very key date that we need to just be mindful of, right? We've got to make sure that the market doesn't dump on that day. I don't think it will. I think the market extends a little bit over summer, probably July, August time. And then we'll have to start worrying. But technically, there is a count which says that the stock market peaks just before Easter. But, whatever. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there were 5 months of an overlap. We're now in February. You add 5 months to February, that gets you a top in July. So, dollar, watch out for that. Bonds aren't, they're just not looking good, are they? So if this is the big collapse on bonds, then obviously bonds is not where you want to be. There's a lot of money still in money market funds. Obviously, they're going to rotate into the stock market. And, there's a very obvious level there. That's a very support. That is obviously going to be resistance, but that is such a key level, which means if that doesn't do this, obviously short term, on the smaller term time frame, that's definitely a trade there to be had, shorting yields at that level. But this is such a key level, which means if it breaks through that, retests as support when it should have been resistance, clearly that then sets up something like this. So if this is really the big dump in bonds and there isn't going to be any rotation into bonds, then clearly that is something to watch. Now the bonds are also coming up to a very, very key level. So if that is not the case, then that just means that bonds are probably a buy then. If this is not the big dump, I don't think it's the big dump in bonds right now. That doesn't make any sense to me. Stock market has to correct. Money goes into bonds. Bonds rally. Then everything dumps alongside the US dollar. So this is something to watch. When the yields basically get up to, let's say, 127, call it 130, somewhere around here where I've got the alerts, it should be resistance. It shouldn't break through and act as support. That would be bearish bonds. If it touches here and then reverses and comes back down again, obviously that's going to be bullish bonds. So bonds are one to watch because they've been consolidating for a very, very long time. That's an inside year basically, and that doesn't look good. So watch for a subtle rotation into bonds. If it breaks down below this level, does this, obviously that's very, very bearish. I'm not expecting bonds to just completely dump here, but we'll have to wait and see. It all depends on the US dollar and how high the dollar goes up. Now, what else can we share? We've shared Tesla. What else are we in? GME we've covered. Disney will probably go to 200. So we've been calling this for a while. As you can see, I've got alerts there, 202 and 210. So that was a good little trick. That's just an ABC. That should push the Dow higher as well. Now, let's have a look at silver. The last time I saw it was a short. Yeah, that's just a shakeout pattern. Yeah, so we've basically called that short. That was a fairly obvious short. Now, for those who are waiting for the Michael Burry moment, I don't think it's there yet. I still think this goes lower. This can still go lower. As you can see, we have to get through all of these alerts here. So this is just going to do this, then down, then this, then one more move wherever. We've got various targets here and here and here and here and here, and then that's it. It's all over. So very interesting times there. It's definitely going to all be over at some point this year. Just a matter of timing this top like we did with Bitcoin 20K. So we do like calling tops on this channel. And obviously TQs, 240, that was prior to the split. So obviously the target hasn't moved down. I don't think it gets to 240, but there's a count I have on the TQs that get it up to 160. And SPXL is the 3 times leveraged off the S&P basically. But this is why you always want to have a look there. As you can see, we're in DOT as well, so we may as well do a live analysis on DOT. Though this is why Reef is doing really well. Yeah, I mean, that's some consolidation there, isn't it? So DOT is one to watch. I do like that. That's an inside week. That's a pattern right there. Consolidation. Nice cause and effect. I don't think it's over in DOT. I forget what my target is, but we're looking at it to go higher. So if you're in DOT and you want the target, then obviously you can join the group. But I do anticipate this to go a little bit higher. That doesn't seem complete to me. I mean, you can easily just read that as an ABC, obviously, but for some reason it just doesn't seem complete. If Ethereum's going up and ADA's going up and a lot of these polls and PokerStarter and Reef Coin are doing well, then this doesn't seem complete to me. So I would suggest a break of this gets you towards my target. So as you can see, that the target is, 7821, 78128. So I was reading that as an ABC. Now I might be wrong, DOT might have already topped here. So, clearly you don't want to be in everything here. You can't be in everything. You just got to choose the right coins. But to me, that doesn't look complete. I'm not reading that as an ABC and a larger WXY. That wasn't the way I was reading it. I was reading this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah? So the suggestion is, or the theory is, if this low gets taken out, obviously that's going to be bearish then, isn't it? Because, well, that's fairly deep for a 4 already. That's about a 38.2, isn't it? So we should be able to have one more high on DOT and then watch out. So I suppose on DOT, I forget what the target is. I'm going to have to check. But you're just looking for a move up here, 23, 26. But like I said, Sushi Coin and CRV are the ones that you want to be in. Anyway, let's just get off that again. So what else are we in? Roku has performed really well. Square's performed really well. Snap is also due, I believe, another move up. Yeah, so we had 60 and 65 here. So Snap's done really well. So it's been a great call. It was very, very important to make this call right in March. Everyone's taken part in the biggest parabolic move in human history because it is the biggest bubble in human history. So we know how it's going to end. So it's very, very important that you grab onto these moves early on. Anyone who got in early has done really well. I mean, like I said, out of the money call options are up 25,000% in Tesla. Now, what else can we cover here? NDX, NASDAQ, Nikola. Yeah, there's not much to do there. Let's have a look at XRP. What's XRP doing? Yeah, I mean, this is really interesting. You never want to see something like that, do you? So, we were long here and then sold on this initial pump only because if there was any chance of that being a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, purely from a risk-reward perspective, you have to buy there. The problem is, you don't want to see this. I mean, because that's now looking like an ABC, isn't it? So you never want to see that. So I would suggest, XRP is in more of a complicated correction. I don't think this is, it's worth having money tied up in here, and you need to diversify. You can never go all in into one asset. That just doesn't work. So, but from a risk reward perspective, that was definitely a buy, and then you take part in this. But there's too much opportunity cost being in the wrong coin at the wrong time, because you're going to end up missing all the move, and clearly DeFi is where you want to be. ZRX, I don't really like ZRX. And I suppose we can have a look at this as well. So obviously this is going to go higher. So I forget what we said on here. Yeah, we were looking for, what was the target again? Let me just get my bearings right. I believe it was 1 trillion. Okay, well we've hit that target. Yeah, so we were looking at 1 trillion. So the minute Ethereum decided to reverse and go back up, that was really the day that I completely changed my bias. Just a shame I've not done a YouTube video since there. So here, where is the obvious level? Well, the obvious level is here, followed by this little pivot level here. And obviously there are going to be stops above here. So basically Ethereum has to be a hold as an absolute minimum to this level here. So everyone's going to have their alerts right here. But that doesn't mean it's going to just do this and then do this. All that means is that's a very strong level there. Resistance twice, support, support. So you're definitely going to get some kind of fallback. But if it breaks through that, you go into here, break through that, go into here. Now, that's the price action. What's the Elliott wave saying? Well, the Elliott wave is saying, if you read that as a diagonal, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, where 4 crosses it into 1, 2 of the waves can be corrective, 1 can be impulsive. As you can see here, 1 and 3 look corrective. Number 5 off that leading diagonal 1 looks impulsive. That's the way I do it. I don't like calling a leading diagonal when all of those are corrective. So that's impulsive, that's corrective, and much like a normal wave 1, wave 3 cannot be the shortest, and it isn't. So if you're reading that as a diagonal 1 into an ABC2, well, obviously we're going to go much, much higher. We're going to go much, much higher. And I believe that, oops, that was the wrong button there. So you can see here, we're going to go much, much higher, aren't we? And let's just have a quick look at this. Let's eyeball this. Make sure we're happy with where the profile is. Yes, that would make sense. So yes, that count that I have there, that would be accurate. So nice move on Ethereum, is clearly outperforming Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is really, we're just gonna wait and see. I mean, there's not much to do. There's rotation. If you get the move towards 25k, it's a great time to add to positions, I suppose. To me, it all looks corrective. There's a lot of people trapped in here, but people like getting trapped in the wrong asset at the wrong time. I mean, could even be a triangle. A, B, C, D, E, consolidates, and then we get the move up. But like I said, Ethereum has got futures getting released on February the 8th. So that's going to be very much a sell the news event. So you just have to watch out for that. What is Ethereum going to do? I mean, it's probably going to hit 2,000 before then. Whether it gets to my 5207, I'm not too sure, but that's definitely one to have a look at. Now, let's just bring it back to, as you can see, we cover a lot of different sectors now in the group. So German index, I believe that was going to go to 15,000. Is that correct? Yeah, as you can see, 15,276. So that's still going to go higher. Apple, yeah, I mean, there's not much to do there. It's just an opportunity cost issue, isn't it? I mean, it's 6 months of going sideways, so you've missed the entire Tesla move. Airbnb, we did really well here, so we called these lows on the initial move, both here and then here as well. So we sold there. So that's been a nice move. So clearly, any new IPO is definitely one to watch, and it's going to be looking for a turn. Now, this one's interesting. I think it's topped based on what I had seen yesterday. Maybe it's not top. There's a lot of hype with this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, okay, fine. It's probably pretty close though. AG, well, that's just on silver, isn't it? So that's just a huge, trap. They basically trapped the entire, a lot of retail traders there, unfortunately. BYND, that's not really doing much. EEM, so yeah, you would have to be careful up here. So yeah, you would just have to be a little bit mindful of what's going on here. Every time you break a new high, you just have to expect that it might be a bit of a trap there. So EEM is really interesting. It might very well make a new high, but to me, that's a bit too risky being long EEM. That could just do this at any time because of this dollar issue. So where's that trend line here? Trend lines like this, isn't it? So if you have a look at Forex as well, the pound can go to 140. We've been calling that for a while. There was a pivot level here, and there was a pivot level there, and we're just running that as an ABC, aren't we? So we've been calling for 140 on the pound. It's getting pretty close. To me, that's just an ABC. So everything comes down to what the US dollar is going to do. So there might be some more gains here for the pound, and then you're just looking at this, basically. And then for the euro as well. Once again, this is purely dollar dependent. That doesn't look good, does it? So if the dollar rallies here, euro, let's say, I don't know, over the next, let's say a couple of years then, to be safe, the euro can easily test these lows here. Surely it can, because it makes up 55% off the dollar index. So where's the euro going? Less than parity then, surely. Has to be. And it's made these corrective patterns before, hasn't it? So, you can just pull up this fractal here. Well, you can pull up any fractal that you like, really. That's pretty much an exact fractal, isn't it? So always use bars pattern here. I think is very, very useful. Basically gives you the fractal. Markets are fractal in nature. So what's going on in the 5-minute time frame is also going on the yearly time frame, so to speak. So something like that on the euro. So I would say euro gets to below parity if the dollar continues its rise and completely goes off on one, because there's a lot of shorts here who are trapped in here. Now, let's just have a look here, and this in real time. Make sure it's not a trap. It doesn't look like a trap anymore. No, that's not a trap. I don't think so. There's just too much volume coming in. So some people were reading this as a wave 4, which is fine. You know, it could have easily done that, but then that's not really analyzing or trading the analysis, is it? That's assuming too much. You never want to do that. At the end of the day, this was always a long with your stop below here. If it gets taken out, so what? Then you go long here with your stop below the low. So you never want to overthink things too much, because if everyone thinks there's a new low coming, chances are that it might not happen. So as long as it stays above here now, you can read that as a Wyckoff accumulation, inverted head and shoulders. Well, that easily gets you to here, to 93. And that's because that's the VPOC's actually at 95. Sorry. The VPOC is actually here. So it's definitely going to go to here. Then you would have to consider all of this as a bottoming pattern. And now the dollar's going to rally. But like I said, we can get an overlap between the dollar going up and the stock market going up. Back in 99, there were 5 months of this. So very, very interesting times here. Stock market is definitely going to top this year. It's just a matter of when. So far, not going to call a top. So yeah, fascinating times. 20k NASDAQ. Let's see if it can be done. We'll get a Bitcoin 20k and crash moment. Maybe the NASDAQ goes to 2k. Let's have a look.